Right there guys, first vlog from Northey Park for quite some time. You know, I've not been here since June, and I've been real busy. You know, we're filming with Korda and that, doing all sorts of bits and pieces as far a place as away as Japan. Recently I've just started coming back down here. It's the end of February. I started coming like the first week in February, and been fishing really slow. You know, I think there'd been nothing out through January, a couple in December, and then it'd gone really quiet. But luck would have it, as I've sort of timed my trip, my arrival sort of coincided with one of the local guys catching one, so it all looked good. Got down here, had the lake to myself, had a good boat around, familiarised myself with the bottom and the spots and stuff, and I found the fish. The trouble was I set up on them, they would then move to the other side of the lake, and then vice versa. So the first trip was spent like just chasing my tail. I'd set up on them, wake up in the morning, go out in the boat and look, and they'd go somewhere else, and then on the final day they were back where I started. So it was a strange session. I'd seen them, I'd enjoyed myself, and learnt quite a lot. Spent quite a bit of time plumbing, finding some nice spots, clipping them up and marking them down in my phone, so that in the coming weeks I'll be able to use that. Anyway, the second trip I got down, 70% of the lake was frozen. It looked bleak, but I set up in the swim that wasn't frozen, and it was one where I'd seen the fish previously, so it all looked okay, and I was quite hopeful, but nothing happened overnight. But the following morning had a walk round, and there's a bush, like one of the biggest snag bushes on the site at Northey. From a snag bush, Carp Utopia, Carp Heaven, call it what you like, they love it in there, and it's double naughty. And it really does receive a nice bit of early morning sun. Had a little walk round there, had a little look in there, there was a fish there, moved my gear around to the last stop swim, and flicked it out to the bush and lost one. Lost one straight away. It went into the trees, I had to go out in the boat, and it totally killed the swim as such. But anyway, the next day I went out in the boat looking for him again, and I found him in front of a swim called Elliot's. I had to go home. I'd done my 3 nights at this point, but again I spent a bit of time marking up, finding a few nice spots, clipping up to them, and this time I put a bit of bait in. Anyway, so I've come down from a third trip, and nothing's been caught in between times. Gone into Elliot's after basically I boated all of the lake apart from Elliot's, because I'd been in there and plumbed and baited. I didn't want to go across them if they were there, but just by a process of elimination I couldn't find them elsewhere on the lake. I assumed they might be back in there where I'd seen them when I left the previous week. Flicked out to the spot, and before I'd even got my second rod out I've had a 33-pound mirror. So yeah, really pleased. You know, last year at Northey I'd done a 19-20 night blank through January and February, and it was only late March that I caught, so to have got one so quickly is a right result. From there though, I've put it back out there. The following morning, it was like it was April, not February. The fish were feeding, there was a couple showed, bit of bubbling going on. Slowly worked itself over to the patch where I'd caught from, and it was away again. This time another small 20-pound mirror, I think it was 26 pounds. So I stayed there, you know, after seeing all that activity, but by morning again, it looked dead. You know, it all looked a bit strange. Nothing shown. The morning before I hadn't had a bite, so I reeled in about 10 o'clock, came round and looked back under the old snag tree where I'd lost one the previous week. There was a couple of fish in there. I've come round here again I've got my rods marked up, all clipped up, popped them out to the spots. Had one quickly yesterday afternoon, a little linear, probably 23 pound, something like that, and then in the night I had another common of 26. The 26 I haven't got any pictures of or footage to show you guys, so I just slipped it back. So yeah, all going well, you know. 3 trips to Northey, blanked the first 2 but lost one the second time, and then 4 fish in my third trip, so I'm really pleased about that. It's a tricky little water, so just shows that I might be getting it a little bit more right than I was last year, and there's a few things I've been doing differently. One is I'm not using pop-ups. Last year I had what I would say a bit of trouble with what I would say drive-bys. You know, I was getting myself on fish, seeing them cruise about over the areas where I was fishing, but I really just wasn't converting opportunities into takes, and I've got enough confidence in my spot finding and my fish finding, so there was definitely something amiss. And basically by changing from bright pop-ups, it seems, to wafters just on the bottom, you get many more pickups, and the only thing I can think of with the lake being so shallow, the pop-up's just too obvious. You know, they don't need any help finding it. As long as it's on clean ground on the bottom, they will see it because of the depth of water. So yeah, that's where we're at. It's been a really cool session, caught 4 quality nice fish, and I'm absolutely buzzing to get back down next week, and we'll pick this diary up again then. Right guys, joining me on the banks of Northey Park. It's my last session before we go off for filming for the Masterclass DVD in Germany, and I've been having a really good run of things down here of late. On my last session I managed to catch 5 fish, mainly 4 small ones, like up to low 20s, but at the end of the session I managed to catch one of the known big ones, a fish called early riser at 35 pounds, so absolutely buzzing about that. But Kitch, the big fish, the one we're after, is still due, you know. I got down last night, I saw some fish in a swim called Boise's, and I've set up in here, flicked out the rods onto some exposed gravel, you know. I'm using naked chods, wrapping a little foam nugget around and just plomping it onto the shallow ground, you know. I can see it's fishing, but, you know, I've been up this morning since dawn, and I've not seen a single sign of any carp in my swim. It sort of appeared that the ones I set up on yesterday drifted off to my right, and it looks like I'm going to have to move. So yeah, it's not looking great at the moment, but I'm going to have a wind in the next, I don't know, hour or so, because the sun is absolutely blazing. On the lake this shallow, they're going to bob up like cork somewhere, so it's time to get everything packed away, and let's go and find them, and I'll pick this up this afternoon when I've found something to fish, and let you know what's going on. Well, I spent the whole day searching, and as you can see there's been a ripple on the water most of the time, and even though the sun's been out, perfect conditions for this particular lake, with the ripple it's been almost impossible to see them. So I've walked and walked and walked, and I was on the verge of giving up, you know, and just chucking them out and hoping for something, but it did flatten off for a very short period. I managed to get up a tree in this swim, and it's a swim called the Hump, and there was a lot of fish out here, quite maybe 40-50 yards out, and they were like cruising around, but they didn't hang around, they sort of drifted off, and then they appeared out here, and they're in that sort of spring mode where they're really mobile. They're searching out all the new areas that they've not been all winter, and yeah, it's really difficult to know where to put the rigs, you know, because one minute they're here, one minute they're there, and without actually seeing feeding activity, it's really difficult to know where to place the rigs. I've hedged my bet. I've put one on a shallow bit of ground out here that I saw a fish swirl on, and also on there's a bar out here as well, and I've put one there. But the third rod, I'm not sure what to do. I'm going to hope for the wind to die off, and then hopefully see some activity, and then yeah, I'll pop that out there as well. All 3 of them on the naked shods with the Albanoffy wafters, and yeah, I'm sort of semi-confident. I'm in the right zone, there's fish about, and the weather's good, and I don't know if any of you are into it, but it's approaching the full moon. The big common near Kitch, it's been known to come out on the full moon. Not always, but it always gives me a bit of added confidence knowing that it has been caught around that sort of time, and I've always found the approach to be the best part. And yeah, we've got 2 nights to go, got fish in front of me. I'm not really confident because I'm not exactly sure of the right spots I should be fishing, but there is fish around, so that's the most important thing. I'm going to leave it here, and then I'll get back to you tomorrow morning and update you on what's happened. Well, it's 48 hours since I last vlogged, and the reason it's been so long is yesterday morning there was fish all over me. I was pulling my hair out, I was recasting rods, they were just turning up everywhere but never staying in one single spot for any amount of time. And most of the fish I've caught in the run up to this session, like through February, March and now into April, have all come on single hook baits, more or less. Some I've pre-baited before, some might have caught over 10-20 baits, but generally on singles as such. With these fish buzzing around, I knew I was in the right swim. It was just a case of getting the right spot. So had a bit of a lead round yesterday afternoon, and found a nice bit of ground rod, seen a little bit of bubbling, a little bit of activity, and then basically went for it on the spom. You know, put out 10 spoms, and I was just thinking maybe I should put 12 out, and it was like divine intervention. I got a wind knot, and that was left me on 10 spoms. 10 spoms of bait on the shallow ground is quite a lot, you know. Fortunately I put it out just before dark and the birds left it alone, and then this morning it is absolutely kicked off. About 5 o'clock this morning the first bite came. That was Northie Park's big linear 3612, absolutely buzzing with that. And then they were quickly followed by 2 small mirrors. So yeah, three nights on the bank. I've been chasing them around, and it all came good on the end, you know, and just shows that it's warming up a bit now. They're prepared to eat a bit of food, and I think that was the difference. I think that's where I'd gone wrong on the first night. I hadn't put any bait out, and there was no reason for them to stop, especially during the hours of darkness. And once that bait went in, they were super tuned to it. But as soon as it got light this morning, there was bubbling all going off on it, fish jumping, swirling in like very shallow ground, and yeah, it absolutely made the session in the end, you know. So 3 at the very left. No kitch, unfortunately. It's just the way the cookie crumbles, and there's another week of the season left. Unfortunately I can't be there. I'm away with down in Germany filming the next masterclass, so that's what I'll be doing. I'll be checking Facebook. I'm guessing it'll be out, but good luck to whoever has it, you know. It's a monster fish, and yeah, I'll definitely be back next year.